It's the daily update, morning views, Manchester United news, guys, and I got some big news for you all. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been speaking, and I'm not gonna say too much, but I'm gonna say this. It's one of those things where he's been saying things that fans like me be saying it's reckless, guys. Very reckless statements. A lot of confidence and swagger from the new co-owner. Let's hear what he has to say. But in the meantime, smash the likes and subscribe, guys. Don't forget, it helps the channel grow. And we want to get it around to everyone. Help me get to 500 subs by the end of the month, guys. Be some support. Help your boy get to monetization. It's the drive to monetization today. Guys, let's get right into this. And big up to everyone joining me, because you know what it is. It's your boy Mark, an MUFC fan, and I'm just going to start it right one time because it's going to be a short show. Got to get to the reckless business and give my views with KG. But guys, get on this because this is going to be very interesting. Let's take into what the new co-owner of Manchester United had to say in his interview, guys.
Sort of very honoured to be in this position where I can influence the future of Manchester United. It's not something, of course, I would ever have contemplated in my younger years, but here we are. I mean, you do have to pinch yourself really, because it is a sort of a boyhood dream, but they never come true normally, do they? This is the exception to the rule, and it's a nice one for me.
How determined are you to restore this club to its former glories?
The only reason I've got involved in Manchester United is because I want to see Manchester United restored to where it should be in football. It's the biggest club in the world. I mean, maybe I'm slightly biased, but I think it's the biggest club. It's the most well-known club in the world. It has the greatest history in the world, and it should be playing the greatest football in the world, which it has been from time to time. So it should always be challenging for the Premiership, and it should always be challenging for the Champions League.
But it's been a decade since it last won the Premier League. So yeah, how would you describe the scale of the challenge facing you then?
Well, it's clearly had a difficult 11 years since Sir Alex and David Gill retired. It's not. This won't be a light switch. It's not switching a light switch. It's not just about a new coach, or it's not a simple fix or a short-term fix. We have to, we have to walk to the right solution, not run to the wrong solutions. We've got a short-term issue, which is that we really, really want to get into the Champions League next year because it's quite important for FFP. But the real challenge is, it's a 2 to 3 season challenge to get, that organisation and environment right.
How difficult a task do you face?
It's the biggest one. I think it's an enormous challenge. It's not. I mean, everybody's trying to do the same. Everybody in the Premier League and around Europe, they all want to win the Champions League. And it clearly isn't very. It's not easy. And there are so many components and elements. And United is such a huge club, and it's there's a great weight of expectation on the shoulders of Manchester United. So no, it's absolutely the biggest challenge. I mean, I have to say, I think the squad has played really good football over the last couple of months, but it's not at the level we want to get to be clear. I mean, it's better than we've seen in the last. It's been quite entertaining football they've played. The youngsters have been, they've been very committed, scored some great goals. But, ultimately the level we want to get Manchester United to is not where they are at the moment. So.
You're impressed by some of the players. What do you make of the coach, Erik ten Hag?
Well, I don't think it's appropriate for me to talk about individuals in that organisation. What I would say, in respect to the coach, is that if you look at this last 11 years, Manchester United has had quite a few coaches, and some of those coaches are very capable and they've been very successful. But nobody's been successful in that Manchester United environment for the last 11 years. So that would say to me that there's something wrong with the environment.
And who's to blame for that?
Well, it's not constructive for me to blame anybody. It's just a fact of life. It hasn't been. So my focus is obviously on the future. How do I change that environment So you get the very best. So the coach, we can get the very best out of the coach, and the coach can get the very, very best out of the squad. That's my focus. There's no point me looking back at blaming people.
It wasn't your average deal, this. You'll have done many deals over the years. It took a long time. How does it compare to others that you've conducted, and were there times when you feared it wouldn't happen?
There were many times that I feared it wouldn't happen because it was a complicated transaction. It was a transaction which required a lot of patience, and it was also a transaction where you had to step into the shoes of the sellers and understand the motivations and the situation the sellers were in. To be fair to the Glazer family, they did want to sell to us. There were lots of obstacles in the way, and we had to find our way through obstacles. And so we did get to know each other, and that did form that helped form a bond and a relationship between ourselves and the Glazer family.
And how would you describe them and how they've run Manchester United up until this point?
I mean, in terms of I only know Joel and Avram, and they are, despite what you might read in the press, they are really nice people. They're very courteous. And they're very, they're avid supporters of Manchester United, believe it or not.
But you'll have heard fans, many United fans, dismayed about the level of debt that the club has been saddled with, the on-field decline, and indeed in terms of the infrastructure. And they hold the Glazers understandably responsible for that. So do you understand that anger of many fans?
No, I understand the frustrations and the anger, but where I sit today is looking forward, not looking backwards. So, what I'd like to say to the fans is, give us a little bit of time, try to be patient, and we'll try to build Manchester United back to where it should be, which is one of the very elite clubs in Europe.
But there will be worries from fans that the Glazers remain in ultimate overall control. And the nature of this co-ownership, what reassurances can you give them that it will, in practice, work?
The key to it working is the relationship that we will have with Joel and Avram, which is, in my view, a very good relationship and a very trusting relationship. And, I can't give people assurances or guarantees about the future, but my personal view is that there's a good level of trust, and it will work.
What's your latest thinking about Old Trafford and its future and the state that it's in?
A bit tired, frankly, and it's in need of, it's in need of refurbishment. And I think there are two main issues in this club. One's performance on the field, and the other one probably is the stadium. And there's obviously a lot of talk about that. There is quite a big argument, in my view, for regenerating that whole south side of Manchester, and within it, the nucleus of it being a new stadium, which would be a world-class, state-of-the-art stadium, which could take England games, it could take the FA Cup final, it could take the Champions League final, and it could service the north of England.
It sounds like your preference, Sir Jim, is for a new stadium, if it can be achieved.
If it can be achieved, then that would clearly be my. I think I'd be very excited about that prospect for the north of England. I think it would be fantastic for the north of England.
There's competition everywhere, it seems. How would you put it?
I'm in exactly the same page as Alex Ferguson. I'd want to knock them all off their perch. Alex was a very driven, very competitive individual, and he just wanted to win, and that's the only reason we're there at United. We're friends in the sense that we're all in the northwest, but they are the enemies. They're clearly our biggest rivals and competitors in the UK, and then obviously you've got 2 or 3 clubs in Europe. But no, absolutely. That's what we're there for, knocking them off their perch.
How far behind are you to them?
A long way behind them at the moment, yeah.
Guys, what are your thoughts? I see Compost has had a lot of thoughts in this little segment here. Big up to everyone coming in. Man Lutata, big up, bro. Big up to you, Compost Smurf. Big up to you, Kenny Fan TV and GB, my brother. What's going on? It's morning and I'm here. Compost, saw you saying boo earlier, bro. And to be fair, to be someone like me who sits on the side where I didn't really want this because the Glazers, I'm going to just take a step back and look and see what's happening, because as I've been observing, Jim Ratcliffe has been saying some things that, bro, it's the kind of reckless things that come out of my mouth, bro. Like, yeah, I wouldn't wish that on City. I just want to see him and smash him on the field. You know what I mean? Then rightly so, like Kenny Fan is saying, it sounds like he's back in Ten Hag because his biggest statement for me in all of this was when he said basically, listen, here's what's going on. In the last 11 years, there's been 5 successful managers who came to this club and none of them has been successful because of the environment. That would say to me I should be looking at the environment and then after the manager if that doesn't work. And it sounds like he's making smart decisions. Look, I'm not going to say he's going to get everything right. He's going to be perfect. He's going to be the man. But it's one of those things where he's saying the things where you expect a manager to be on his mind, because look what he said about Mason Greenwood, guys. He said, listen, he's a Manchester United player. We have to look at the facts. We cannot just pay attention to the hype. We have to check and see what really happened. You know what I mean? And then see what his contribution to the club could be, what will happen, what the impact will be, and then we make a decision. It's going to be a new decision, guys. You know what? Sounds focused. It sounds confident, like GB is saying, and I agree with the guy. I may not have wanted his ownership, but what if he becomes the owner that we all deserve? This is the question. I'm not saying get giddy, but I'm saying sit back and observe what's happening. Let's make an actual analysis of his actions and the impact they have on Manchester United. Omar Barada is in, soon to be Dan Ashworth. And I'm pretty sure, with the fact that he's been ratified and everything's been made official, other moves are going to be happening. Boom, boom, bada bing. You know what I mean? Whether we like the moves or not, it's going to happen. What we have to do as fans right now is to sit back and observe and see what changes come. Big up to you. Good morning to you, Stephanie, and I hope you are well. MVP of the United Space right there. Big up Compost. I've literally no issue with what he said apart from him trying to paint the Glazers in a certain way. This fan base has been mentally abused by that fan base, that family, and Sir Jim should know better. Now, Compost, here's my take on that, because I don't like the Glazers, but I'll say this to you. If I got into business with these guys, or if I'm trying to buy Manchester United, I'm being really, really, really honest. I'm only going to have nice things to say about these guys. And then after I buy the club 100%, I'll speak the truth. And then you'll get my actual thoughts on the Glazers. Because you want to know something? If I'm buying the club from these guys and I want to get it for the best price for me as well, then I have to be nice. I have to play the long game with the Glazers. I have to play the long con. I can't just say my bit about them, because then someone's going to know. And when someone knows, someone's going to say something. And they're going to say, well, you think I'm this and that, man. Yeah, add another billion on the price. You know what I mean, guys? You got to look at it from the perspective that we're not, oh, come on, what? Nah, brother. Nah, bruv. Big up to Alien Tenno coming in. Bro, I really would like to hear your thoughts on Sir Jim Ratcliffe, to be fair, on what his interview said. What did he say? If you have a moment, bro, come in. Let me hear what you have to say. I'm not going to be on too long, but definitely have time to hear what your opinion is, Alien, because you know what? He's talking just like you're saying. I want to see him do the walking, so I'm going to be one of those fans that steps back and observes what's happening, because you know what? I could say all what I think about it, and at the end of the day, it could fall apart. But what if it's successful? So I rather just be patient, see what happens, hope for the best right now, because you want to know something? It's what we got. You know what I mean? We don't really have much else to say. Well, it's not like if there's someone in the works that's going to come in and say, listen, 9 billion, give me Manchester United right now, guys. You know what I mean? So let's see what the guy does. Let's see what happens. And Alan, if you have time, jump in. Let's hear what your opinion is, because you're the match-going fan. You're the senior. I know you would have the rightest opinion, because at the same time, I feel like we think alike in a lot of things, but you got the, that extra bite in your vibe. I'm a little bit too positive, but in the same time, I would look at it from the perspective, guys, that we have had a lot of bad for the last 18 years in terms of the way the club has been operated, run, the negotiations, the type of business we have been doing. And, what's happening with Sir Jim is actually better than what we had before. So, in a way, I'm just hoping that it works. I'm not going to be like, yeah, I don't like this because it's not a full sale only. I really kind of still don't like it, but at the same time, I'm willing to see if he's actually able to make changes, impacts, and do it in a way that is going to bring a brighter future and sustainability to the club. Good morning to you, Lou and friends. How are you doing? Haven't slept. I don't normally catch you on this time, but I'm very happy to do so. Thank you for coming in, Luan. I hope you're having a good day. Almost top of the prediction table, Luan. Been smashing us the last few weeks. Good one to you. Yeah, so Jim Ratcliffe, what he says, Luan, you gotta admit, some of the things he said would kind of sound reckless, like what we be saying and like what I be saying. So personality-wise, it's always good to have someone who has a confidence and has a swagger about them, be it a female owner or a male owner, whichever one it was. They need to have a swagger about them. They need to have a certain confidence because at the end of the day, they need to make decisions. And so a lot of people might not like it, or a lot of people may, but at the end of the day, they have to make them. So they got to be able to back themselves. And I think Sir Jim is backing himself to make a difference. And with Omar Barada coming in a few months, and Dan Ashworth about to be poached because he's already on gardening leave, I'd say he's making some right decisions for now. You know what I mean? If the Glazers were actually business savvy as people claim, this opportunity might have never appeared. Hopefully, this is the start of getting our football club back. That's all I'm saying, Compost. That is all I am saying. Because what a lot of fans, they think about it, it has to be black and white. And yeah, you might expect it to be black and white. And sometimes it's just not like that. There's some gray area sometimes. So you gotta be able to navigate. And I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe said it himself in the interview. He's like, he had to understand what the sellers wanted. You understand? This guy has a tactical vibe, bro, because he literally said, I had to understand what the sellers wanted before I could buy from them. And then I had to find a way to give them what they as close to what they wanted. When he said that, I was like, bro, this guy, he's smart. I was like, he's smart. May not like him, may not like some of the things he does, but he's smart. You know what I mean? So decision making, not burying head in the ground, is vital to move forward. 100%, Stephanie. I'm about to get on KG's reckless soundboard as well, Kenny. You know how it goes in the morning. We got to be up there. Yeah. But you know what, guys? I think it's a positive move. I like what I'm hearing from his interview. I felt like he was open and honest. It might sound a bit scripted, but I feel like any fan or anyone buying a football club at the size of Manchester United would probably have the same kind of remarks when asked about Man City and Liverpool. I feel like we're not close, but we will be aiming to get there as soon as possible. And I wouldn't wish any bad on them, but I would want to smash them on the field. And when he said that, bro, I'm like, damn. Because you want to know something? That's the kind of shit I'd be saying as a fan. You gotta like that. 9 likes. Let's get to 10 before I go. And you have to admit, I didn't want him. Just like Luan is saying, we all wanted Qatar because it was going to be 100% full sale Glazers out. I don't think any fan didn't want that. I think every single fan deep down, whether or not they had reservations against Qatar or Sir Jim, they all want the Glazers gone. Maybe we couldn't get them gone this year, but maybe in 2 years we can get them gone. The biggest and most important thing for me is let's see the critical decisions that he makes. Let's see if he has a backbone about himself. Let's see if he does things in the way that Manchester United historically done things. We are movers, we're shakers. We are the ones that lead the way because we never bowed to the normal rhetoric as a football club. We always went across the grain, not with the grain. When clubs didn't know anything about the European champions, and Manchester United made it their business to get in that tournament. We are one of the clubs in world football that made the UCL what it is today. And it would never have happened if we had followed the normal rhetoric, guys. If we had went along with all the English clubs back then, it wouldn't have happened. So we got to keep leading the way. You know what I mean? We got to keep doing our thing because we are Manchester United, right? We are the greatest football club in English history. And we are going to get back to those ways soon. May not be this year, may not be next year. But if Sir Jim Ratcliffe's decision-making and his willingness to go against the grain, just like he's been speaking out in this interview, is anything but spot on the truth, then we're definitely in line to be competing in let's say 30, in like 24 months, in the next 24 months, we might be able to be, consistently making Champions Leagues, maybe competing at the top for the title in the 2 seasons from now. But at the end of the day, we all must have patience to some extent, but not blind patience. I would say patience while seeing improvements and steady gains, steady progression, steady things and stuff getting better decisions being made, and all things going forward. I see my guy is coming in. Big up to him. Big up the legendary, the one and the only. You know who it is. It's Alien Tenno, guys.
How's it going, man?
I'm chilling, really good. How are you doing?
I'm okay, mate. I'm okay. Just been doing a few chores at home, as you do. Yeah, I mean, look, Sir Jim's talking the talk. He's we've got to appease fans, hasn't he? You know what I mean? People, he's coming, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Okay, that's fine. The problem is how it's going to be funded. Like, he's trying to get some government funding. I mean, the ticket prices have gone up 10% already for next season. I've heard rumours, like when you go to buy a ticket from Old Trafford, if you're not a season fan, if you're, say, a member, you can get them at face value, like 50 odd quid, 60 odd quid maybe. Apparently, he's going to put it minimum £100 a ticket. So he's putting the cost of things onto fans, which is understandable to a degree.
True.
For me personally, he's right in building. We don't just need a new stadium; we need a complex where Old Trafford is. Yeah, you imagine this. If you have, I think I'll have to look up. Like, a lot of people say they want a 100,000 seater stadium, but I don't think we can do that in England. That's why Wembley is only 90,000 capacity. They'd have done it, the FA. I could be wrong, but I'm sure it is. But let's just say, for argument's sake, he builds a 90,000 all-purpose stadium, yeah? And then, next to that, he builds a fan park where you've got fans who want to go to Old Trafford, can't get tickets. What's the next best thing? Standing in a fan park right next to Old Trafford, buying food, buying beer, watching the game. Ka-ching, 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 it's all money. And then I've heard Gary Neville wants to get in bed with him, help develop it. I think Gary Neville's worried because if Sir Jim builds an hotel there as well, he's going to take business from his hotel football. So the thing is, I mean, you could see this, Mark, yeah? If Sir Jim's plans incorporate a sporting complex per se, he could knock hotel football down and rebuild it purposely. That's all. Also an option. So there's quite a few things. I mean, at the moment, it's all talk. You've got to get planning permission. That's for one. He's lobbying the government for funds to help fund it, and Manchester Council as well. So I presume if Manchester Council help him fund a new Old Trafford, that will push the council tax up in Manchester as well. So there's a lot of things to this than just going to build a stadium.
100%.
You know, you have to look at the pros and cons. But for me, a new stadium is a must.
Yeah,
I mean, the logistics of building the Sir Bobby stand over the railway, because there's terraced houses at the back of that as well. So you haven't got much room. You can't get rid of the railway line because it's a freight line. It's constantly used, not for public purposes, but business. The wiring, the infrastructure inside Old Trafford is outdated. Logistically, it's cheaper to flatten it and rebuild it, because you can purposely rebuild the stadium to how you want it. Yeah. And you look at Tottenham Stadium. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, well, we'll lose the history. Well, not really, because the only real part of Old Trafford that's left now is, you know, where the managers sit. That used to be the old tunnel where the players used to come onto the pitch at the halfway line. That is the only original bit of Old Trafford left. Old Trafford, in effect, is a new stadium itself anyway.
100%.
So the thing is, as long as you're rebuilding on the same spot where Old Trafford is, the history is still there. I mean, at the end of the day, look at Tottenham, look at West Ham, Everton, soon to be, Arsenal, Hull, you know, I can go on and on and on and on. Yeah. Leicester City, them fans ain't moaning about moving into a new stadium with all mod cons.
Exactly.
When you look at the stadium they've come from, Man City. I don't know whether anyone in the chat's ever been to the old Main Road. Main Road was worse than Old Trafford. It was a right hole, if you know what I mean. And you've got to move with the times. Times move on. Not only that, it's like, you know, other channels have said, look at Tottenham, they've got a go-kart circuit underneath the pitch. They can remove the pitch, play NFL football. They can hold concerts there. This is all revenue that comes into the ground.
100%.
And even though the Glazers and Sir Jim will take some of that revenue will still go towards Manchester United Football Club.
And it will also improve employment in the area. It will develop the city.
Exactly, Mark. Yes, exactly. You know, so look what Abu Dhabi have done it. The City of Manchester Stadium. And they've regenerated that area and give people jobs.
Yeah, I mean, my buddy lives near the stadium on the Etihad side, and I went to visit him one time, you know, and, you know, I normally go to the Bishop's Place and then walk to Manchester, you know, because I sit in the Sir Alex stand, and it's like, for me, I went to a game at City before, and it was like, the seating is more comfortable, it's more spacious. You don't have to get up to walk down the lane in front of you, you know, and when you're sitting in the seats, your knees is not the shoulder, the elbow rest of the fan in front of you. For a tall guy like me, you know what I mean? So when you know, it's like, I would like those things, but at the same time, I looking at it from the perspective of we're not really moving from too fast. So
I've got what's called a lot of season ticket holders have a fixed seat. I've got like what's called a roaming seat, because I hate to be in the same spot all the time. I like to be in different parts of the stadium, because I think if you're constantly in the same seat, it just gets a bit boring. I like to see different angles and that. Anyway, there was the Leicester game last season where they put me in the southeast corner, which is where Saeed is, and where northeast corner, where I usually sit, Fergie stand, and then Saeed's in the east stand, in that corner there. And it's standing as well. The seats, but the standing as well. It's that narrow. I mean, I'm not exactly a slim guy. I couldn't even get into my seat. Literally 8 people had to walk out the way so I could get past them to get in, to sit down. And it was like, this is crazy. It's like Adam Stott.
Exactly.
He's 6 foot odd, and Noureddin. They sit there. Their knees are up by the chin. It's that cramped. It's like you can't move in there. You literally can't move. They've crammed that many seats into the stadium just to get money, revenue. There's no facilities and there's nothing.
Exactly. And then when you had to
It's
walk into the
outdated, like it
bathrooms at
is.
halftime or after the game, you might as well hold it and reach the bitch of place, because you know what? At least you won't be waddling. You might stand in line, but you're not waddling through a puddle or puddles of like piss, you know? So it's like, in my
You
honest
know what,
opinion,
Mark? Right, I was at the Brentford game, when they beat us 3-0, and after the third goal went in, I thought, that's it. I think there's like 20 minutes left to go. I thought, that's it, I'm done. Let's go. Anyway, as I came out onto the concourse, this is in the Sir Alex Ferguson stand, there was a commotion in the toilets. There was two guys literally broke the toilet door off and the seats and were beating the shit out of each other. It was funny as hell.
wow.
And it's like, this is how bad it is, Old Trafford, where people are now just beating the shit up out of each other because you're frustrated with what you're seeing. There's literally nothing you can do.
True.
And the stewards were just standing there watching them.
100.
No one was doing it.
I
It's like,
mean, who
beat the
gonna run
crap out
into
yourself.
that mess to even stop them? Because you know you're gonna be
Yeah. Well, I was at when I had that accident against Galatasaray. It was the same with Copenhagen. There was away fans everywhere, all around Old Trafford, because what the Glazers had done, when fans had sent the season ticket holders, for whatever reason, not going to the game, they give the ticket back to be resold. The Glazers had sold the tickets to away fans as hospitality tickets.
I
So the
remember that.
£50 ticket, they were selling them for £175.
£175.
And they were everywhere around the ground, causing trouble, and they tried to blame the fans for it. It's like, get the shit out of it, man. It's you greedy gets.
100%, boy. 10
So, I mean, I was talking to a couple of Galatasaray fans where I was in the stadium. They were nice people, like, you know. But some of them were like, we just throw in flares off everywhere and all that. When I was in the treatment room, when I cut my leg, there was a guy in there. You know, when you get smoke inhalation, you just like tears coming out your eyes. He was like, I was like, just drink water, mate. It's the only thing you can do. Just drink water. That's it.
Just drink water. Yeah, but
So,
it's one of those things where, with Sir Jim, I feel like we might not have wanted him to be the guy, but he might be the guy to take us where he wanted to be. But we just have to wait and see what he does.
There's a couple of things in the interview, if you deep it, like he was saying about, being a Manchester lad, and he never thought he'd get Man United. And I was sitting there listening to it thinking, no, because you tried to buy Barcelona and Chelsea first, didn't you, Sir Jim? You know what I mean?
Me too, bro. Because I was saying that to myself. I was like, bro, this guy have a season ticket, but he have a season ticket for Chelsea, and I'm like,
exactly, yeah.
And I'm like, but you want to know something? When one of the statements that really hit ground with me was when he said, I wouldn't wish anything on Man City and them like that, but I want to meet them on the field and smash them. And I was like, that had to be, you could script something, but it have some things that someone says, they're speaking the truth. You understand? And when he said that, and then it have one or two other bits he was talking about, like when he talked about the managers we had over the last 11 years, and he looked and he said, this tells me it's the environment. Something there is wrong, and I need to fix that first. I was like, all right, I will sit back and I will see what you do, and in the next 6 months, if it working, I will commend you.
I mean, I'm going to give it. I mean, it's easy to talk, isn't it, Mark? You know what I mean? It is like, but at the end of the day, you have to look at it from this viewpoint, like he said in the interview. His sporting portfolio, Man United, is now part of that. So by default, he's going to want to be successful in this endeavour, what he's doing. Of course he is. And it's Manchester United, basically licensed to print money, isn't it? That's what it is.
Exactly.
So you can see, to a certain degree, he is sincere about what he wants for the club. Now, he couldn't believe that Erik ten Hag has to report directly to John Murtough. He goes, which company does that, where you report to your CEO?
Exactly.
It's your sporting director you report to. The CEO, really, in essence, the CEO should never have contact with the manager unless you're knocking on the door and go, there's your P45, you sacked. That's when you see your CEO.
Exactly.
Any other time than that, you should never have contact with them.
Unless say like you win a title and they walk onto the field and them kind of in those moments, you know, or like any moments that we might have during the year when we have to do the memorials for the Munich disaster, stuff like that. But
that's it.
Exactly what you're saying there. And this is the things that we need to look at as fans, because we need to fix ourselves. We need to get ourselves back in the mode to be a sporting football club, not a commercial football club.
That's it. Well, right? I mean, the thing is, Matt, we can be both. Well, we are both.
We are both.
You know, we was a commercial club even before the Glazers bought us.
Exactly.
Even though we wasn't marketed that way, but we was a commercial club. How can you be the size of Manchester United and not be a commercial club?
Exactly.
It's impossible not to be one.
Exactly.
But I'm going to give him what I'm looking for now is this summer transfer window, January, and the summer transfer window next year, where the dead wood should be gone in them 3 windows. It should be gone.
Should be gone, whoever they may be.
I mean, I suppose if you pull your finger out, I mean, you could look at it this way. You could look at the players and go, sit, you know, Eric Ten Hag down, Barada, Ashworth, if we get him, and say, look, you know what, which players do you want to keep? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, we'll get rid of them. Call them in, knock on the door. Thanks for your services. We're paying your contract off. Goodbye. You could do it that way. Okay, it will cost a lot of money, but it's a more efficient way. Why keep players if you don't want them there? That could be there for next season.
True.
They're earning money. They're not going to play. They could be disruptive in the dressing room. So if you've got a project and you want to go forward, you might go, well, come in, there's your handshake, goodbye, have a nice day. I wish you all the best in your next endeavour.
I wouldn't be surprised, Elian, if you see some of the guys, it happened to 1 or 2 players. Because as we know, we have 1 or 2 players on some huge contracts that not really performing well. But you wouldn't be surprised if other players be sold, and it might even be a shock to some people. Some of the players sold, like, you know, as a Bruno fan, but if Bruno gets sold in the summer, bro, I will be sad that day. The next day, Manchester is back. You know what I mean? Because
you know what, Matt, right? You know, a lot of people say, oh, it's Bruno waiting that. Bruno's done what we bought him to do. When we was in lockdown and we needed a 8 number 10, we bought Bruno and he served us well. He's 30, either this year or next year. I think it's this year. We've got Dan Gore there. You know Dan Gore. Dan Gore and Kobe Mainu, a lot of people don't know it, but them 2 together, they're dynamite.
Dynamite.
And I'd rather cash Bruno in now and start playing Dan Gore.
Yeah, I mean,
Mainu.
In a way,
I'm telling you,
I feel like Dan Gore will start getting game time coming from this summer and into next season, and maybe we move on Bruno in the next window, not this summer window, but maybe January or maybe the next summer, because you know what, Dan Gore is the future, and I've been telling man, this is Jarvis might be upset. I know he was a little upset the other day because of Isaac Hansen. All right, but I was saying, listen, from the look of things, it looked to me like the choice was between Dan Gore and Isaac Hansen. I could understand why they picked Dan Gore. You know what I mean? Now, I like Hansen Oran as well, but when I see Dan Gore play next to Kobe in the midfield for the youth team, I'm like, bro, this guy is Paul Scholes. This guy is Paul Scholes. And I'm like, what? So, for me, let it be done, bro, because the manager have to manage. Players will come and players will go. And at the same time, you know, it have one of those that you would want to stay. It have some players you would want to come into the club. You know, cash in on players now. You know, get new players in the next window. But let's just make sure that everything that Sir Jim and these guys do going forward is something positive for the club in our development.
I mean, the thing is, Mark, I mean, like Tony Martial will be gone. You know, whatever people say about Tony Martial, there is a good player in there. Unfortunately, I don't know whether constitution-wise he's kind of injured, and I think maybe it's a bit mental with him as well. He hasn't got the mental fortitude for things. Anyway, take that aside. Martial's gone. I would tell Marcus Rashford now, the opportunity is here. Forget about the marketing side. of Marcus Rashford. You've got a new marketing boy there in Kobe Mainoo. Yeah,
Young
Rashford is old
Garnacho,
news.
young
Mbappe
Hoyland.
is moving on to
Exactly.
Real Madrid. There's an opportunity there for PSG to buy Marcus Rashford. Take the opportunity, Sally. Take it. He's not going to
100.
improve anymore. And I don't think he's the future of Manchester United. Again, like Bruno, another player that served his purpose. Like you said, sell him while they've got marketable value on him.
100.
Mason
100.
Greenwood will be sold, unfortunately. I'm one of them people who'd rather see him come back. But in the current climate, that's the way it is. I don't think he's going to be there.
Well, Sir
Sell
Jim was
Bruno,
saying,
sell Rashford,
yeah,
sell
sell him.
Mason. Yeah. I don't know why we bought Mason Mount, but we stuck with him. Release Christian Eriksen. He's finished. Get rid of Luke Shaw. Bring Alvaro back. Don't sell him to Benfica. And use Alvaro and Malacia as our two left backs. Move Wan-Bissaka on, keep Dalot, buy maybe Frimpong right back. You know. So when you're going to use a core of up-and-coming young players, you still need to buy the odd season pro in to complement them. You can't just throw all youth in and go, there you go. Because after all, it's the Premiership. You're going to crash and burn
Look at
if you play
Chelsea.
all the
Look at
youth.
Chelsea, Tano. Chelsea
Yeah,
do
this
that.
is it, yeah. So, I mean, like you say, Steph's Hoyland, the poster boy, yeah? We need to get a proper right winger, sell Anthony on, unfortunately. You know, he's a Kylie Minogue. You spinning around, keep out of my way.
Tano, big up to you, bro.
I mean, the thing is, Matt, look, you got to look at Anthony, yeah? He goes to the byline and he keeps cutting back on his left foot. Why are you running to the byline if you're going to cut back on your left foot, mate? Why don't you just cross before you get to the byline? The reason why I say that is instead of wasting time and letting players reset themselves, the opposition, while you're going to the byline, if you're 20 yards, 10 yards from the byline, cross the ball in, they're not set.
Exactly. I agree.
So at
I
least you're
think he
moving
hasn't
the
been
play on.
performing well at all. So, if that's the decision they need to make, let
We
them make it.
need to sit Garnacho down and tell him you need to cross to your strikers more. It's okay every now and then you getting the odd goal, this and that, but primarily you're a winger, not a striker.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Exactly.
Personally, I don't think it'll be here after the next 3 seasons, Garnacho. He's already thinking about going to Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
Yeah, he is. He's
Yeah,
going.
I mean, you know what? If it's one thing I not worry about is wingers, because we have some young wingers coming up.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Yo,
We do.
they
But,
are right fire.
so, like you say, we've got Willie Campbell. I'm hoping Everton go down because I want us to buy Branthwaite, the defender. Because if we have Martinez, Cambuella, and Branthwaite as our 3 centre backs, I'll be quite happy going forward next season. I will do.
Be quite happy
I
myself.
will do. Two good, young, promising centre backs with a season pro. Yeah.
One thing,
I don't know, maybe, I would sell Casemiro. I would sell Varane. But simply because we can get value for them and they're not the future. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
you've got to look. You've got. Sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind.
True.
You look at Real Madrid when we bought Varane and Casemiro off Real Madrid. We paid good money for them, yeah, and they sold them because they knew they were no more use to them. When Real Madrid sells you a player, that means they have no more use for that player. They only have players in the prime. Real Madrid.
For sure. True. That's facts.
And that's it,
Yeah,
so,
I mean, it's like you say, Tano. Let we be prepared to let guys go for the sake of the betterment of the club. And that is always going to be number one priority as a fan, because at the end of the day, it's always about the club. And yeah, we will love players, but at the end of the day, we will love the new players as well. And players, it was always going to be some difficult choices and difficult changes, but right now we got to face it and move forward. We got to keep making those steps forward, because you know what? We spend enough time mulling around. We spend 18 months with this transfer at a standstill. It's over, done. let's move forward from now and let's see what we could do.
I
Because
mean, people are saying, you know, because I mean, the curse of Harry Kane is real.
yo, listen, Tano,
It's real, man.
I
And
was
people are saying
walking
maybe
home.
Man United, you know, should buy Harry Kane from. No, I don't want him. If we was going to buy a season pro, you know, we would compliment Oyland now, Ivan Toney.
As if he
He
will
would
want to stay on
compliment
the bench,
Oyland.
though. I just feel like Ivan Toney will want to start, bro. And I feel like
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying, Mark. We should go 4-4-2 with two strikers
4-4-2,
again. This
probably.
one striker, like, it doesn't work. You look at the best teams of Man United over the
Two
past.
strikers.
We've always had two strikers up front.
Two strikers.
One will drop back and one will go forward, and you alternate them. Just play with two strikers, because then the defenders, the opposing team, have two people to worry about, not one. Two's better than one, isn't it?
100%, and that's
the,
always been our identity, that two striker model.
yeah,
So
of
it's
course
one
it
of
has.
those things
Well,
where I will never
under
be opposed
Fergie,
to
Matt,
going
we had
back there.
four. We had four strikers: Cole, York, and SAS. Solskjaer and Sheringham. We had four
Exactly.
strikers. You know, so I mean, look, people don't realise Ivan Toney is quite a speedy forward as well. I was watching him against Man City last night, like, and he was giving Diaz and Stones, you know, a cause for concern. He was starting to run on ragged a bit. And they had the chances, Brentford, last night. Not last night, the night before, sorry.
The night before, yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, when you say that, if we have to play our two strikers, we might have to play a back three, you know, because, and then having Brantwaite, Kwambala, and Martinez will be more important than ever, because if we play a back three with our midfield of five, I feel like that will be like, you know, you still get the overlapping wingers, you know, you still get the 10 in the middle, you still have your two central defensive midfielders, you know, it will work out.
3-5-2.
Let me see what goes, because, you know, I feel like that's our identity. We're always a two striker team, and it's just something that was intrinsic with United. Growing up, it always had two strikers at United in my eyes. You know what I mean?
The thing is, Mark, the reason why I'd like two strikers is this: you keep them, both of them, sharp instead of one being on the bench. Yeah. So you've got a possibility of two. You know, you get games where you play two strikers. Sometimes the strikers don't score. I mean, unfortunately, that's what happens in football. But at least if you're still playing two strikers and one striker gets injured, you still got the other one match ready and ready to go, because you've been playing him instead of him warming a bench. Because we all know what it's like, you know, when you're warming a bench. You can come on and be an impact sub, i.e. Scott McTominay, but when you've got to do it for 90 minutes, you go missing in the games because your body isn't attuned to playing 90 minutes of football.
100%.
You're coming on playing 20 minutes, half hour, that's it. So you have two strikers, keep on going, and then you have a third striker. For me, in the squad, I would buy, if it was me, I'd have Oyland, I'd buy Ivan Toney, and I'd put Charlie McNeil on the bench.
I wouldn't mind seeing that, to be fair, because I think, you know, I think Charlie McNeil had his loan. I think he learned a lot on his loan.
Yeah.
And, you know, next season might be his year, because, you know, sometimes not all strikers is be like that bright, shining star coming up. You know, some of them just go through that period where they don't really do well, and then suddenly everything is clicked. So, yeah, look, you know, I look forward to that kind of thing happening. I look forward to the change that, you know, Ineos going to bring with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, now that they're ratified, making some good football decisions in the last few weeks. You know what I mean? Who would have thought we would be getting Omar Barada? Who would have thought we would be, you know, literally going at our next team and take, you know, the sporting director again? It's like, yo, we are the big bad bullies once again, you know, back then, you know, my many days with Sir Alex Ferguson, because, you know, he used to bully the press.
You know what, Mark, for the last 10 seasons, probably a bit more, but since Sir Alex retired, a lot of people have ate from Man U's table, haven't they? They've ate from our top table. Now it's like invitation only, bitches. You ain't coming here no more.
No
invitation
more,
only.
Back to what it was.
We're now going to come and eat at your table.
Yeah, file your teeth,
That's
man,
it.
because we're coming through and chomp, chomp. Because you know what? for me, Manchester United always had this air about them, like,
Yeah.
we walk into room, all eyes on us, we do as we please, and we walk back out the room.
Yeah,
And for the
that's it.
last couple years, it was more like, hi, can I get in? Excuse me, please.
Yeah.
Let me pass. And it was
Can I
like,
overpay for this bowl of soup?
exactly, bro. Exactly. So it's for me, it's a good
No
thing.
more.
Good is a for me. I feel like a little slight change in the way we doing things now. With those two decisions that he made, it make me feel
Yeah.
like, listen, he not afraid to make a decision, and that is the biggest thing for me. He not afraid to make a decision.
No.
So if that is the kind of guy that going to be running helming the ship right now, then yeah, let's see how it goes. 6 months from now, let's make a review, see where we progress,
Yeah.
and then
This is it.
then we
Like I
decide.
say, Mark, for me, the next 3 transfer windows, obviously summer, winter, summer.
Mm-hmm.
All the deadwood should be moved on then. We should virtually have the squad that we want to go forward with. In between, you never know what can happen. Injuries can happen, blah, blah. That things like that can happen. But all things being equal, the deadwood should be gone. Lindelof, Casemiro, Varane. You know who I'm going to say. They shouldn't be at Man United this time next year.
Exactly.
And players.
Exactly.
They should be gone.
They should be
We've
gone.
got 2 windows, 3 max to get rid. That's it.
It will happen, when you look at the guys that came in, that he brought in, and a lot of people has asked for Sir Jim, right? But if there's one thing I always just notice, every game, whether home or away, Sir Dale's Bridge for Dodgy Dave in the building.
No.
This Dodgy Dave guy, you might not like him, but hate it or not, this guy is the guy this is the most important man on the scene, because this man he's giving me that vibes like he is just watching and observing everybody actions.
Of course, yeah.
And then he just go and be like, you can't say this. Out the door. You not good enough. Out the door. And this is what I'm waiting to see.
This is it, yeah.
And
I mean,
listen, we need Champions League this season, but if it is, we get it. And if we get it, because it looked like we possibly might just scrape into top 4.
Well, I mean, City are beatable. From what I've seen, their last 2 games against Chelsea, and Chelsea are a real poor team.
Exactly.
They really are a poor team. And Brentford, Brentford, they're a decent team. A lot of people underestimated Brentford, but they're a decent team. We can get it, Man City. We can get it on. And don't forget that they're under pressure. Liverpool won it again last night. Man City are under pressure. And they've got to win games.
Man City facing who this weekend? I think it is. I think it's Brighton.
I think it is, yeah.
I think it's Brighton. So Man City in a situation where if they was to drop any points this weekend,
they're
in trouble. You know what I mean? They're in trouble.
They are.
They're facing Bournemouth away, and for me, Bournemouth is one of those teams like a Luton. They are at Bournemouth.
They're away to Bournemouth.
They could concede a goal, and Bournemouth is that they're not playing bad football, and they're both.
No, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, Mark. There's the pressure's on. When you're coming to the business end of the Premier League, teams you would beat at the beginning of the season all of a sudden become a difficult game, because there is now no room for errors whatsoever. You can't afford to slip up. And it doesn't look to me, what I've seen of Liverpool, I think they're the team to beat in the league. Man City, Liverpool, and I think Liverpool got to play Arsenal again. And we've got to play them three. So that there's all to play for. There's a lot of things that can go wrong for teams. Man United could put a spanner in them 3 teams.
A dread spanner. You could imagine.
We could do. We could do it.
I wouldn't mention it on here, but just imagine, Tenno, we was to win the next 7 games on the bunks. I just want to say that. Just imagine that. That's a whole spoke in the whole of this race. This time.
Yeah, exactly.
New news. coming out, Tano, what's your thoughts? They hear Unai Emery being linked with the. I've heard Antonio Conte as well,
Yeah.
and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Well, whatever. They're going to keep Tuchel till the end of the season, which kind of makes sense. I don't see the point in. I've never liked sacking a manager. Now because you're bringing a manager in to work with what you can't change anything because the transfer window's gone January. So you might as well just stick with what you got and go, well, okay, if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. They're not going to beat Leverkusen. They're not, even if they hit form again. From what I've seen of Leverkusen, they're going to give a lot of teams a lot of problem.
The only team it have in the run-ins that might give Leverkusen some trouble, and is like it have this one team that was playing well that play against them, FC Cologne, and there's not a top team, but when they played against Leverkusen in the season, I think they drew. And so far besides them is only Stuttgart had kind of stood up to kind of Leverkusen this season. Those are the teams that didn't lose to them. So whether or not, I mean, considering that all things considered, they finished second in the league, wherever Aston Villa finish, it's going to be a real, how to say it, but a weird summer, because how many teams looking for managers? Like about 6 top teams. Bayern, Liverpool, Barcelona, possibly Arsenal. You know what I mean? There's lots of things. Lots of teams.
Yeah, I mean, there's Graham Potter there is looking for a job, isn't he? I know Roy Hodgson stepped down, hasn't he, from Crystal Palace?
Yo, Tenno, Crystal Palace just get a very, very, very good manager, Tenno. This guy Glasner, he won the Europa League last season with Eintracht Frankfurt. Look out for Kostic. This guy who went to Juventus last season, he hadn't really been starting too many games, I think, but he was his go-to guy at Eintracht, right? Look out, if that guy Kostic come to Crystal Palace with the current team,
that's what I mean.
Is a troublesome team next season.
I'm just looking at our fixtures now. We've got Fulham, then we've got Forest is going to be hard away in the cup. I'm hoping Forest are going to be distracted with Premier League survival because I think they're going to get it with a points reduction, aren't they?
I think they're going to get a 5-point reduction.
So in the league, we've got Fulham, then Man City away, then Everton at home, a dodgy game, Sheffield United, Brentford away,
dodgy.
Chelsea away, Liverpool at home, Bournemouth away, Newcastle at home, Burnley at home, Palace away, Arsenal at home, Brighton away. It's not an easy running for us.
No, it's not easy running, no, but this is the kind. But if you know something, Tano, this is the kind of run ManUnited will go. Is when they're back against. It's some strange thing about United in the business end. There's a different team. These guys, and it might not be intentional, but these guys have a different attitude in the business end. And this season, if it is, we could continue. Whether it is it pretty or it ugly, we get them wins across the board. Like if we could go away and win against City, whether it be a 1-0 or 2-1, scrape our last minute. Pal, I feel like the next couple of games, you could back Man United to keep the winning record. So,
or even if we get a draw at City, I'll be happy with that.
Me too.
I'll take a draw.
I'll take a draw.
Because that will be a good result for us, especially with, like we said before, especially with Man City on the title charge, for us to take points off them at home.
100%
would benefit us and be a spanner in their works. So I think everyone would be happy with that by them, innit? So, and confidence-wise, might be a tall order for us to go there, depending on what players we've got available. Defense-wise is going to be a problem because Luke Shaw's going to be out. He's out for 3 months. So I know Tyrell Malacia is looking to come back for the Everton game. So that's after Man City. So we can only play what?
Tenno, buddy, you might say I'm crazy. I would play Anthony in that left back position, bro. I telling
You
you.
know, you never know. You never know.
Because you know what? He's at the end of the day, defensively, he dogged when he
Yeah.
marking players, he's track
Well,
back
he
well.
is a dogged. Yeah, he is a good defender, isn't he? In his own. I mean, it's like Trent Alexander-Arnold at Liverpool. For me now, a lot of the Liverpool fans I talk to, they say they'd prefer Trent in midfield now instead of at right back because he's a better crosser of the ball, and position wise, he's better in the because he likes to bomb forward anyway.
Anyway.
So obviously, you have to find a replacement at right back for him, don't you? That's the problem. But
No, well, they
that
have
won't be
that guy, that youngster, what's his name? Connor Bradley.
Yeah.
Connor Bradley. The
Connor
last
Bradley,
few
yeah.
games he start, every time he starts, Trent goes into midfield.
He does,
The only
yeah.
reason he didn't start the game where they drew 1-1, I think it's 1-1 they drew, was because his I think his dad had died the week before during the week. So
He
for
did.
me, maybe he's Liverpool new starting right back because Trent
Could well
injured.
be.
And this is why I be telling fans, listen, Anthony might not be doing well in the attacking position right now, but you never know. He mightn't be a left back, but they might slap him there, and he might have a great season. And you know, we have a solution there.
But it is, Mark. You always try to play if when you're looking for a left back, you want a left-footed player, don't you? That's what you're looking to. Like you say, I can understand what you're saying with putting Anthony there, with him being predominantly left-footed. Well, he is, yeah. He hasn't got a right foot. So, yeah, then trying to shoehorn another player in. Another thing we could do is just play three at the back, go 3-5-2.
Yeah,
I've always liked three centre-backs. Pep does it quite a lot, especially when Man City attack. He'll always put his three centre-backs. He'll play with four centre-backs, Pep. He'll put Stones in midfield. And then when they go forward, sometimes he'll drop Stones back with Diaz and Akanji as they attack. So I've always liked three mobile central defenders in a back three. I have, especially with them being tall as well, because it gives you so much advantage on set pieces as well. And especially when someone tries to play diagonal balls on you, because you know your defenders have got the height to intercept it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We could go three at the back, especially obviously Martinez is out. So instead of trying to shoehorn Lindelof as left back, why doesn't he just play Varane, Evans, and Maguire?
Yeah, Varane, Evans, Maguire, drop Dalot on the right wing.
Yeah.
On the right as a wing back, put him on the left, put Anthony on the left wing as a wing back.
Yeah, left wing back,
we still have Kobe, Bruno, and Cassie to play in the midfield, and we still have Garnacho and them boys up front. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that, bro, 100%. You know what I mean? Yeah, we do have a mobile CB with Leacher out, but you know what, guys? Like, listen. Footballer injuries. Kevin De Bruyne, hamstring has went last night. So, guys, there's no Kevin De Bruyne next week. You know what I mean? And you never know, bro. Like, Man City have a game to play. What if Rodri get our next yellow card? He on 4. That would be 5. He would be missing the game. No Rodri, no Kevin De Bruyne. We face Man City. You telling me you don't like Manchester United chances? Come on, guys. You know? Big up to you.
And you know what, Mark? I'm surprised Pep let Gundogan go. I really am. I thought he was our best player last season, Gundogan.
I thought Gundogan was going to retire as the Man City captain, in my opinion, because he was so clutch. It's like us letting Rooney go. You know what I mean? Like, you try your best not to do those things. And for me, they lost 38 goals from their season last year. When they let him and Riyad Mahrez leave. They never replaced that.
Yeah,
clutch goals is a serious situation.
And you're saying without Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne, City are finished. They're definitely struggling without them two.
Exactly.
They're definitely struggling without them two.
Let's just say Man United win the next game against Fulham handsomely. Let's say we win against Nottingham Forest in the cup.
But Pauline is out, Mark, as well for Fulham.
Yeah, on a red card. So
he's on the red card, so he's gone.
So it should be a easier game for United to get control of. And then let's just say we go on to beat Fulham. We go on to beat Nottingham Forest in the cup. they facing, let me just say, Man City don't have Rodri, don't have Kevin De Bruyne. Facing a United side, 6 wins on the bunks, 8 wins in all. This United side will
they're
probably
there
be
for the
getting
taking,
champion. So it's one of those things where let's just see how it goes, one game at a time. This weekend coming up, we need to get that win at home versus Fulham, and let's see how it goes, because you know what, football is a beautiful game. It's not predictable. At the end of the day, the 11 on paper could be the best 11 on the planet, and the 11 on the pitch on the day is who's winning the game. So,
that's it. Who wants it the most, innit?
Exactly.
That's
it. Bro, thanks so much for coming in this morning.
No problem.
I have to should jet off and go and run into the city to do some work. But guys, if you have time later on,
shopping.
Yeah, definitely going to do another stream later on, Tano, because I heard that there might be some breaking news coming in about the Dan Ashworth situation. So if you're about, come back in. Hope thanks everyone for joining us. Compost Smooth, big up to you. Big up to Kenny Fan TV. Big up to everyone. Stephanie Griffith coming in as usual. You know how it is, MVP of the Man United space. Stephanie Griffith. Big up. Big up to GB. Big up to Compost. And big up to you, Elian Tano. Thanks so much for coming in.
Cheers,
guys.
all. Have a good day.
Have a great day. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye now.